In this tutorial video, we're going to go through the laser sketch engraving toolpath. First of all, we're going to open the tutorial file for this tutorial. We're first going to go to the 3D view, and we're first going to look at creating a laser sketch engraving with this image here. So if we go over to the Toolpaths tab, you can see here that we already have a laser cut and fill toolpath for the Rita text here. For more information on the laser cut and fill toolpaths, I would recommend watching the how to use the laser cut and fill toolpath tutorial video. But for this tutorial video, we are going to use these settings for the text, and we're going to create a new toolpath for this image here. So with the image selected, I'm going to go into the laser sketch engraving toolpath. So at the top of the laser sketch engraving form, you can select the laser tool you want to use by selecting the select option. For this, we will be using the marking settings, but if you would like more information on each of the settings in the tool database for the laser, I would recommend watching the laser cut and fill toolpath tutorial video, where I go through each of these sections. So I'm going to select this tool. There is also the edit option next to this, which will allow you to edit the laser tool settings for this toolpath only. The next two options underneath this is the power. So this is the percentage of the laser power we will be using to cut this toolpath. The next option is the overscan option. The overscan option allows you to have the laser move past the edge of the lasered area. This will turn the laser off at the edge of the lasered area, but will allow the machine to continue moving. You can use this if you are seeing a darker edge to the laser burn due to machine deceleration. This is machine dependent, and I would recommend running tests to know how much overscan you will need for the laser you are using if you are seeing a darker burn to the edge of your cut. The next option here you can see is the machining limit boundary. So this is going to be the machining limit of the toolpath we are going to select. For this, we're going to select the bitmap boundary option, as this image has already been cropped to the correct shape, so we will want to cut the whole of the image out. If you do not want to do this, you can draw a vector around the area you want to machine and use the selected vector option instead. So for the selected vector option, you will need to select the vector and image you want to use to create this toolpath. So now I'm going to unselect these and select the image again and go back to the bitmap boundary option, which we will be using in this example. The other option we have here is a boundary offset. This can increase the machining limit outside of the boundary that we have selected by the distance entered here. For this, we're just going to use the default setting of 0, as we do not need to cut past the edge of the image. So the next setting on the list is the tracing parameters. The line thickness will allow you to adjust the thickness of the lines created from the bitmap image selected. The higher the value, the thicker and heavier the sketch carved lines will be, but you will see less detail. The green highlighted area will show you which areas will be engraved by the laser. So if we move the slider upwards, you can see here the lines get much thicker, but you can see that less detail is being picked up. If we move the slider down, you can see that the lines aren't very thick, but more detail is being picked up. By reviewing the green highlighted area in the laser sketch engraving toolpath, you can get a good idea of how the toolpath will cut before calculating it. So for this example, I'm going to use a line thickness of about here, as I like the thickness of the lines, but also happy with the amount of detail it's picking up. This setting will depend on what type of cut you are looking for and also the type of image you are using. The next option on the form is the step over. This is the space between the lines that will be cut by the laser to create the hatched pattern for this toolpath. Then the next option is the hatched angle, which will be the angle that the toolpath will cut. For this example, we will keep the hatch angle at 0 degrees. The next option is the strategy that the toolpath will cut. These options are fill together, fill regionally, and fill regionally within vectors. If you would like some more information on what each of these strategies do, I would recommend watching the cut and fill laser tutorial video that goes through each of these options. The next option is the crosshatch option. Checking this option will create a crosshatch fill instead of a single set of lines. So now let's calculate this toolpath. So now we can preview the two toolpaths to see how the laser sketch engraving toolpath will cut like. So here you can see the toolpath that was produced by the laser sketch engraving toolpath. I hope you have found this tutorial video helpful on the laser sketch engraving toolpath. If you would like to see the laser in action, we recommend you take a look at the Getting Started with the Vectric Laser Module video.